we are being the worst team maybe in history of Manchester United. I know that you want headlines, but I'm saying that because we have to acknowledge that and to change that. So here we go, your headlines.
We'll get back to Ruben Amorim in just a quick second, but remember, as always, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so you know when the next Big D video drops. And if you've got something to say, I'm sure you have, after the latest circus performance, please put it in the comments. I read all of the comments and I really enjoy interacting with my viewers. Now, the question that I want you to think about while you're watching this video is, are we in fact the worst team in the history of Manchester United? Well, we'll leave you with that thought now. We're going to get to Ruben in just a second. Please stick around for after the clip, and I'm going to be giving you my thoughts from the match as I saw it sat in my seat in the Stretford End during that chilly Sunday afternoon. Here's Ruben.
Ruben, you said to TV that the fans are going to have to suffer, the players are going to have to suffer. Can you explain in your mind what that looks like? Because a lot of people will say those players out there have cost tens of millions of pounds and they are consistently underperforming.
It's hard to explain. We have to acknowledge the moment and not going around the problem. Everybody here is underperforming. No matter what the circumstances, we are underperforming, and we have to accept that it's unacceptable to lose so many games for any club in Premier League. Imagine Manchester United. So it's a really hard moment, but we have to continue. We have to continue. There is no other way. We need to suffer and continue.
Samuel.
You said in the week that you learned more from the Southampton game and this week in general after two poor performances, one good result, one bad result. What have you learned about these players?
The opponents are better than us in many details, that we cannot be consistent, that I'm not helping my players in the moment. So it's a hard moment. You have to acknowledge that we are in a very difficult situation. We are without all the bad records, as losing games at home, losing games at Premier League. So we are really underperforming, and we need to win games. That's all.
James.
When you say you're not helping the players, what do you mean by that? And when you say everyone's underperforming, do you consider yourself that?
I knew that was going to be hard to put a completely new idea in the moment. But then when you lose games, you don't have that luck to win 3 games in a row. It's becoming really hard. So that's why I'm telling that we are going to suffer, because I will continue to do the same. So to help my players is to give them the tools to play in this way. But then without training is really hard. Then without training in losing games, and you can feel it in the end of the game. Everybody was changing position, was not in, and that is something that I will not see again. We can lose, but we have to maintain position. If I want to show some different, I just want to help my players. If I want to show to the media or to the fans, I put 2 strikers. I didn't put 2 strikers because if I put 2 strikers, it is going to be more difficult for them to understand the way we play. So I'm just here to try to help my players, but we need to understand that we are breaking all the bad records. So it's a proud thing we need to change.
Anton.
You said that obviously the opposition has been better in a lot of the games that you faced this season. That's going to be very difficult for fans to hear a Manchester United head coach say that. I mean, that kind of, how do you address that? That can't be good, is it?
Yes, in 10 games in Premier League we won 2. I know that. Imagine what is this for a fan of Manchester United. Imagine what is this for me. So we are getting a new coach that is losing more than the last coach. I have full knowledge of that. Like I said, I'm not going to change, no matter what. And I know we can succeed, but we need to survive this moment because I'm not naive, and I know that we need to survive now. So we are being the worst team, maybe, in history of Manchester United. I know that you want headlines, but I'm saying that because we have to acknowledge that and to change that. So here you go, your headlines.
Jeremy.
Hi, Ruben. There's a case that Marcus Rashford is probably the best forward here, certainly one of the best forwards. So do you feel sort of like disappointed or let down that he's not here to be able to help the team when you're in a difficult situation, not to bring him on or whatever? Do you feel let down by him?
No.
Why not? Because you yourself have said he was left out for training reasons. That's his responsibility, right? So that's on him, yes?
Guys, like you said, is his choice. And I don't want to focus this bad moment because in this moment Rashford is not here. In the last games that we lost, Rashford was not here. So I don't want to put this moment on Rashford. Rashford is out of this moment because he's not playing. And no matter what, I'm not going to put a player that I don't believe is the best for the team. That's all.
Okay, so just with regard to it's difficult for your players to take on a new idea, your idea for the season. These are top professionals. How difficult can it be?
Guys,
because they're very good players in theory.
Yeah, but they are used to different things, and then you already saw in your years of experience. Sometimes you have one team that almost win the league, and then the next season is really bad without confidence. Our players are really nervous in actions, and then when you go inside the pitch, you remember the last games here. If I feel it, the players feel it a lot. So the only way is to continue to do the same and to win games. That's the only way to fix this.
Carl.
For most of today, it looks as if Brighton was stronger and quicker to these second balls. You've spoken a lot about physicality and how you really want your players to run back when you battle. How do you build that in a team right now? How do you build this physicality multiple times?
First of all, it's training. Then we need to, in everything we do, even if the train is small, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we have to give everything. And then we have to be prepared to suffer. And that's is the only way. And then we have to feel that feeling that we felt against Liverpool, losing, and then reach a game of Liverpool in something appears to the players. We have to feel that every day. Even when we win 2 games, we need to have that feeling every day. But I think in the training ground during the week is the best way to train that thing.
And last question, James.
Ruben, just on the first goal, obviously it's a new system, you've not got much time in the training ground, but that just didn't look like anything to do with system. It just looked like a complete absence of concentration at the start of the game. Do you agree with that? Is it concerning that at the start of the game players could switch off so quickly like that?
Yeah, we need to be really focused on the game. And sometimes I felt that the team is focused in a lot of stuff, also because of the moment. But it's a simple play. If there is one play that Brighton does, is to push the centre back and the winger makes the movement, and we knew that before the game. So I don't want to point to that specifically. Is everything. So the only way is to work really hard, to win games, to have time for a new idea, to change things around.
Just on Onana, Ruben, obviously outstanding for you on Thursday, kept you in the game when it put for him, but obviously there was another individual lapse in the third goal. Is it a bit of a concern that you've seen these individual lapses come back into the game after what was a difficult start?
It's like the team, ups and downs, really ups sometimes, in really low downs. So we have to maintain, like you said, maintain the focus during all the game to try to win games. That is the only way that we can turn things around.
Well, are Manchester United presently the worst team in the history of Manchester United? I'm not entirely sure. On paper, we're not. There's some talented players in that team. Bruno Fernandes, even the goalkeeper who made a clanger. He's played a Champions League final. Delict, brilliant player. And he didn't actually play that bad, to be honest. Kobe Mainoo's a good player. Ugate's a good player. Dalot wasn't bad. Harry Maguire played well. But the way I see it is that match was lost because of 3 individual errors. But we'll get to that in a second. But the worst team, certainly not on paper. Form-wise, yeah, probably form-wise. I try and whenever I make any kind of analysis video or anything like that, or even when I'm just looking at the team or anything like that, throughout my time as a Manchester United fan, I've always tried to look at the team in the context of where they are at overall. And as I say, on paper, that's not the worst team. I think on paper, Van Gaal's had a worse team when we had Morgan Schneiderlin in midfield. That wasn't great. And even on paper, Fergie's had some worse teams, like when he had Cleverley and Anderson in the middle of the park. Or there was a team once where we played 4 defenders in midfield against Arsenal and still beat them, but the form just carried us through. But this team just can't seem to get a run of form together because they are talented. I'm not entirely sure what Ruben Amorim can do other than spend a fortune this month. It's difficult to say. But anyway, going to the match itself, even at 2-1, I always felt Manchester United could potentially get an equaliser and also potentially get a winner, like we did against Southampton. Because they seemed to be up for it, but that third goal just killed the game outright. And it was a stupid goalkeeping error. And he's made too many of them. It's just getting ridiculous now. And he has played well a little bit over the past few games. He's made some outstanding saves, but it's almost like he does the hard job well, but it's a little easy jobs, like that error that he made against Brighton. I could have saved that. It's so frustrating. It's just the tiny details, like Ruben Amorim acknowledges there. It's just tiny, basic details. I didn't feel as though the effort wasn't there against Brighton. I wasn't watching Manchester United and thinking they're not putting the effort in. So that was a bonus. That was a plus point. I thought overall we weren't too bad. It was just two errors from Mazraoui, unfortunately, and I've been one of his biggest advocates so far this season. And I mean, he deserves a couple of bad games, to be honest, because he has adapted to the Premier League really well, and he was caught out for the first goal. Why he wasn't paying attention with that player where he was, and he just allowed him enough space to get the ball over him. That was just schoolboy stuff. And again, he allowed the Brighton player to get ahead of him for him to nip in at the back post. I mean, again, this is just schoolboy stuff. And then The stupid error by Onana just absolutely killed the game dead. The wind went out of the ground after that goal had went in because we didn't necessarily look dangerous. You felt as though our effort would maybe get us a goal, but we didn't necessarily look dangerous up front. And that was one of the things that was really kind of frustrating for myself to watch, because whenever we'd win the ball in defence, whoever got the ball would look up and there'd just be Xerxes up front on his own with no one around him, and there'd be no one to pass to. And then whoever had the ball would have to pass it sideways and do the tippy-tappy thing. And so there was no sort of decisive balls forward that were penetrating, and mainly because there was no one to pass to. And Bruno Fernandes was kind of, well, he's always all over the place trying to run the show, you know. And Dalot was going too far to the wing. He wasn't cutting inside and supporting Xerxes enough for my liking. But he was nippy and he was putting the effort in, and Xerxes was putting the effort in. Xerxes had a good game. He got clapped off. When he got substituted, he actually got a round of applause from the Stretford End at least. So that was good. And I've got no complaints from Diallo. And I don't have any complaints about Bruno. It's just the players that they're playing up front, because this particular formation, it's nothing new. It isn't anything new. Conte played this system with Chelsea, but he benefited from having two good wing backs and a dynamic front three. Everything else was just solid. Now we've got the solid sort of foundation, because there's nothing wrong with the back three. The starting back three for me is Delict. I'd go with Maguire at the moment because he's playing really well, and Martinez, right? Or maybe stick someone in the middle three with pace. I think Mazraoui plays better in the back three, to be honest, because he's got a little bit more pace than the others, and Yoro just isn't quite there yet, and he's not as fast as what people made out. People were saying to me, like in pre-season, he looked rapid, but I don't think he looks that fast. But you need a little bit of pace in defence. So it's one of Maguire, Delict, and Martinez needs dropped to stick perhaps Mazraoui in there. Because we're crying out for a fullback or a left wing back, so that would mean then that Dalot can concentrate on playing right wing back, and we've got a left-footed wing back on the left, and then that'll allow a little bit of width and perhaps a little bit more penetration on both wings and create a little bit of balance. So Conte benefited from having two excellent fullbacks, but he also had three dynamic, creative and dangerous attackers up front in Pedro, Diego Costa and Eden Hazard. I mean, that's dynamic, and that is 10 times better than Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Højlund and Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo has been fantastic lately, but you can't rely on him all the time just yet. He's still got a little bit of development to do, and maybe a little bit of work on his positional sense if they're going to be playing the three up front. I feel as though there was a lack of pace up front, to be quite honest. Xerxes is not the fastest, although he did play well. He deserved to start, I suppose, but tactically speaking, it's not quite right for this formation, unfortunately. You need speed up front, and you need two players that are going to support the centre forward, and they need to stay closer to him, because that's the importance of having the wing backs, because the wing backs are the ones that run down the wing, so then Diallo can tuck inside. So that was the main issue for me. It was just individual errors from Onana and Mazraoui, and a lack of teamwork up front, and that probably stems from having the wrong profile up front. That's how I see it anyway. But it was a frustrating game to watch at times, and it was bloody cold as well. And I must admit, I left after 85 minutes. I thought, you know what, the game's dead. I'm going to get a warm-up. And I did. And it is what it is. But it seems that Manchester United are looking at a young fullback who's actually meant to be quite good. A guy called Patrick Drogu. So, but he's 20 years old. My issue is, if we go for him, is he going to be the starting fullback? Because I think we need someone that's going to walk straight into the side and hit the ground running. And if he's a 20-year-old, that means we're going to have to coax him in. He's going to have to adapt. There's going to be that bedding in process and all of that. Whereas I'd rather we just went out and just bought someone ready-made. But it depends on outgoings with PSR and all that. Good grief. It's like pulling teeth, Manchester United at the moment. And it's frustrating because there's times when things click with this side. We were fantastic against Liverpool, played well against Arsenal as well. And there's times when we play some really nice football in this formation. So I'm not sure what's going on. I can't help but think Amorim has made the mistake of trying to change too much too soon, and that he should have phased in the 3-4-3. Hey. But by all accounts, he had the same problems in Sporting, and it took them a while to get used to this. And then once it eventually clicked, it clicked and it exploded big time, and they dominated. So one hopes that the same thing's going to happen at Old Trafford. But hey ho, what do you think? What do you guys think? Is this the worst team in Manchester United's history? What can we do to fix this downward slope? Thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.